Hello, everyone. You are listening to Your Palm Beach Guide with the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce, and my name is Kiana Rivera. I'm the Vice President of Membership Development and Programming at the Chamber, and today I'm very excited because our very own studio director is on air today. So hi, Travis.
Hi.
He was so wonderful. He just jumped in last minute, and I'm so thankful. So thank you so much. I'm really excited
my
to
pleasure.
Talk to you.
Yes, it's an honor.
So real quick, we're going to jump in and I'm going to share a little bit about his bio, and then you guys are going to hear directly from just the master behind it all. So Travis Dempsey is an author, audio engineer, producer, and music teacher from West Palm Beach, Florida, and the co-founder of AMP Music Lab Palm Beach. It is the Palm Beach County's most loved music school for audio recording and music production lessons. And prior to founding the Academy of Music Productions, he taught 8 years at one of the top 4 recording and music technology programs in the USA. Over the last 2 decades, he's taught over 10,000 students seeking mastery in all aspects of recording arts at the highest level. And then he also is our studio director for Podpopuli Palm Beach Gardens. So, thank you.
Thank you. Wow.
Yes, a huge bio. I love it. I didn't read the whole thing because I think I'm going to loop in some questions there.
Okay.
Because I just think you can definitely share some really cool stories with some of the stuff that you have. But first, Travis, tell us a little bit just about yourself, how you got to Palm Beach, and how you got in this scene.
Yeah, sure. You know, I'm from here. I grew up here. All right. I grew up in Jupiter, went to school in West Palm Beach, went to the School of the Arts. So I'm a Dreyfus graduate.
There you go.
Yep, there you go. And, I was running soundboards for the theater department, and I've always loved technology, and so that's kind of how I got my start. But yeah, I grew up here. I'm from Palm Beach, and went to school here, and
now you're still here. I love it.
Still here.
I love that you said you've always had a passion for this kind of work. So when you're talking about these 10,000 students, what do you do with them? How do you help them excel in this field?
You know what it is, Kiana, is I also like sci-fi. And I used to get off the school bus and watch, and that was on. Right. And the bridge of the spaceship always has like all these buttons and knobs. And so every time I'm in a recording studio or,
you kind of think you're in a spaceship.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's all these buttons and knobs and flashing lights. So I love that. No, I was working as a professional audio engineer for many years after high school, pursued it professionally. Landed a job. I ran soundboards for showrooms in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How long were you in Vegas for?
About a year and a half.
Yeah,
about a year and a half.
Quite a change from Florida. So that's great.
And I loved it out there.
Oh, you did?
By
Okay.
the way, yeah. But then I got offered a job as an engineer at Sony BMG in Manhattan.
Oh my gosh.
So I left Vegas and went to Manhattan, and I did that for many years and worked at other studios as well, and just great experience there. And then I was offered years later a job as an instructor at one of the top 4 recording universities. And I kind of got the bug for teaching and mentorship there. It was just very rewarding. So I did that for many years. And in 2015, moved back to Palm Beach County with my wife and started AMP Music Lab, which is a music school which is more technology focused. So
more tech focused. Okay. Yep. And that's kind of like walking the students through, is it specifically for like music production? So like, let's say that you go to a concert or something and they're the people that are handling all of to make the experience sound better for the audience, or is it something totally different?
No, it's like that.
Okay.
What's happened over the years is back in the day, you had to go to the $1 million studio. You had to go to the spaceship to record a record or do anything like that. And like everybody listening here, that technology is advanced, and we can do a lot of the stuff on our computers now.
Right.
So there's a lot of people out there. They want to make music. They want to start businesses. They're doing all different types of things. And now the recording studio's in the computer.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And so I help people get over the learning curve and achieve their goals. Usually with my students, it starts with like a meeting where we establish those goals.
Right. Kind of like, what are you looking for out of this process? What are some of the things that they're trying to accomplish? Are they recording artists and they want to, be a musician, or is it, I guess, I don't know.
It is that some of my students are artists and they want to record themselves. They're going to recording studios, and that can get kind of pricey.
It's expensive.
It
Yeah,
can be expensive, and so they want to learn how to record themselves. Other students are just pursuing a passion. They want to make music. They want to make a record, and so I teach them how to use the computer to do that.
Okay.
I've had students that are want to pursue it professionally.
Wow,
right,
wow.
and have a career.
Right.
Some of my students have gone on. We did youth programs for many years, and some of my students have gone on to become entertainment business lawyers, working for labels out in LA, and
that's awesome.
Running big studios in Chicago, and
holy cow!
And even international students. We've had students visiting the U.S. who went to my program and are now running studios in Italy, and so it's very broad. It's very broad, but it's they have passion for music, whether So yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And then in your bio too, it talked about that you co-wrote original music for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction Deborah Harry. Tell me about that.
Oh yeah.
How did that conversation even happen?
That was cool. So when I was in Manhattan, I had mentors, right?
Okay, right.
So I'm helping other people, but I didn't get to do what I was able to do. I had people help me. So one of my mentors, I was working at a studio out in Brooklyn, and I was, since I knew I got to do a lot of opportunities because I knew how to hook everything up.
Right.
Right. So people often would bring me in and say, I got to participate in a lot of really cool sessions.
Okay.
Because I could hook it all up, and I had that skill. I knew how to do. I've been doing that since high school, and so I was invited to participate in the songwriting process with Deborah Harry's producers. My mentor, Barbara Morrison, shouts out.
Yes, let's go, Barbara.
Yeah, go Barbara. I love you. I've always loved you, and I will always love you. And so I got to co-write one of the songs on her solo album that came out in 2009, which was the same year she was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So that was really just super cool, and I was just that was awesome.
That I can't believe that. And then too, you talked about the importance of mentors and how you didn't just this career didn't just happen for you. It was like you sought that out through mentorship and through career development on that end. And so do you still have mentors now? Or
absolutely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, I mean one of my mentors here is the founder of Podpopuli.
Okay.
Who who owns the studio and many other studios across the country. Brian Howie. We call him the Podfather.
Shout out Brian.
Shout out to Brian. Yes, he's a famous podcaster too.
He is a famous podcaster.
At the time of our recording today, he's recorded the 500th episode of his podcast. Yeah, The Great Love Debate. So if you like relationships, check that out.
I love that intro to him, The Great Love Debate.
Yeah.
The Great Love Debate.
yeah, it's great. No, I when I joined Podpopuli, I had a meeting with Brian. And one of the first things I did, it was really just a 15-minute meeting with Brian.
Right.
And I learned more about podcasting in that 15 minutes than I knew the previous 15 years. And I had been producing podcasts. My first podcast I produced was 2005.
Yeah.
It was the Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich, this little
gosh.
small tech startup.
Yeah.
I had the rights for that content. And so I had been producing podcasts, but I had a meeting with Brian, and I learned so much about podcasting in a short time, and I'm still learning.
Right.
Yeah, no, I still have mentors. You never stop learning. You never stop growing, especially when it comes to music. And technology, because technology continues to change too. And music, you could study music your whole life and not, just get the tip of the iceberg. It's fascinating.
I think too, well, this is actually real quick. We'll pause and we'll do the intro again. So you're listening to your Palm Beach Guide with the Palm Beach Chamber of Commerce. Our guest today is Travis Dempsey with Podpopuli Palm Beach Gardens, and also his other company that he owns, which is AMP Music Lab in Palm Beach County. And, we were talking specifically about Podpopuli. So let's transition real quick and tell me again, you met Brian for 15 minutes and it was just like it clicked. And then you got brought onto this team, and tell me about what you do as a studio director here. Because when our guests come in for the chamber, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea this was here. What do you mean I can do my own podcast? What does that look like? Like, what is your advice to our chamber members who are thinking, I probably could have a podcast, but I'm too afraid to start?"
Yeah, people say that. They say, "Oh, everybody's got a podcast," or "I want a podcast," and I think what they're really saying is, "I should have started a podcast 5 years ago." Right? So we've all seen how podcasting has just grown.
I mean, it's taken off.
It's taken off over the last 2 years, especially over the last 10 years. It's been around 20 plus years. Right. So, no, what we do at Podpopuli is we take the hard parts out of podcasting, okay? Because there is technology involved. It started off as an audio-only format. Over the last 10 years, it's kind of branched into video as well. And so you want to start a podcast, and oftentimes, and yeah, you can do it at home on your computer. You can do all that. But what happens when people start podcasts at home is usually after like the 7th episode, they pull the plug.
They're like, I'm done.
Right? They're done, and then it becomes into this technical thing where you're worried about microphones and cameras and you're not focused on creating content or talking about what you're passionate and curious about. So at Podpopuli, we take all the hard parts out of that. And to answer your other question about, chamber members who may be interested in starting a podcast, and these are Brian Howie's words, not mine. Right. Okay. But the recipe for a successful podcast is at the crossroads of passion and curiosity. Okay, if you have passion and you're curious about a particular topic, that's what it takes to have a good podcast. Right there.
So good.
Okay, and if you really want to start a podcast, go to our website podpopuli.com. Click the contact button, get a hold of one of our team members. And like I said before, we take all the hard parts out. So
exactly. Well, and I can and I can speak to this. So for me, when I first met Brian, we were kind of bouncing around the idea of starting a podcast at the chamber. It was like, do you think we should do it? And then we really were like, we're not sure. We have a really small team. We were already spread so thin. And so I reached out to a friend of mine. Her name's Jana Angel. She now lives in Tennessee. Shout out Jana. She is amazing. She's in the broadcasting field. And she originally started, she was on another podcast I was on years ago. And I just reached out to her and I was like, hey, is this even still a thing, or did it like die out in COVID? Because then I remember it saying like, if a podcast isn't active for so long, whatever, all the nitpicky things. So then I reached out to Brian or this team, and I was like, hey, can we meet for coffee? Just totally blind to the idea. I met Brian at a coffee shop here in Palm Beach Gardens because that's where the studio was previously. And I had no idea that I was meeting with the owner.
You were meeting the Podfather.
Yes, I was meeting the Podfather.
Sat down and had coffee with the Podfather.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. And I just was like, my regular self, which of course, you should always be that. But of course, later when I find out how big of a deal he is, I was like, oh my gosh, Kiana, you just were so chill the entire time. But then he said the same thing. He was having that passion and curiosity, and then just being able to have a conversation. And I think that's what made podcasts so popular is that. And then to add video, it's you start to listen to these personalities every episode, and then you kind of create your own picture of what they look like. And then you actually see them in person. You're like, I didn't expect them to look like that. Or it was like, oh, that voice is spot on to what they look like, And
it's fun.
It is so fun. And I think too, just Brian was like, it's super easy. We'll get you in touch with our team. Meet Christina. Christina came to a couple of events with us, and she was like, this is a no-brainer for you guys. Look at all of this stuff in Palm Beach, especially just because we were growing.
She was right.
Yeah, we were growing at such a rapid rate. So thank you for pushing us to do this. And now we're able to have on all of these incredible guests that share their story. So to your point, if you are looking to start a podcast, any of our members, whether you're a business member, nonprofit, even young professional, we have a ton of young professionals who are great in this space. Please reach out. I mean, Travis will be around, and we can connect you personally too. But I just love that you said that about Brian, because it's right. And you guys, and the studio is easy. It's you walk in, you record, and then you leave. So true. And then you handle it all, Travis. You really do.
That's right. We handle it all. You come in here, we'll record your podcast. We have an editing team. We have a membership coordinator who will connect you with other podcasts. You can be a guest on their show, and have a guest on your show.
That was really cool. That was really cool. I heard about that a couple weeks ago. Because you tell us some of the podcasts that you have here now, like just some of the, I don't know, off the top of your head.
Well, there's a podcast for every little niche, right? Every little thing that people are interested in, there's a podcast for that. That's what's really cool about it.
Right.
Right. And like you were saying, the opportunities that podcast brings to whether you're a business or a brand or just have a personal interest in something, you do it as like a passion project. There's so many reasons to start a podcast and add it to your mix. Right.
Exactly.
It's great. And these go on YouTube, correct? Right?
Yeah, they do. They go on YouTube.
So I would say to anybody watching this podcast on YouTube to open up your phone, get the podcast app, right?
Yes, please.
It's really easy. There's like a few buttons in there. Click the little search button, type in your Palm Beach Guide, and click follow and start listening to podcasts in the podcast app because it's great. But that's it. I kind of went off the side there.
No, that's so good though. Because honestly, I think too, just to talk about how you guys do have so many podcasts, not only in this studio, but you said it's national. So tell me how many. I mean, Podpopuli is all over the U.S.
Oh yeah, we have locations all over the country. We produce thousands of podcasts. Since we started, it's probably in the tens of thousands of podcasts.
Right.
It's a very high number. Right, we're a large percent of the podcast production.
Yeah.
With all of our studios combined, we had a podcaster here. We had a podcaster here that started it in Palm Beach and then moved to Manhattan.
Oh, wow.
Right? And was able to continue in one of our membership programs because we have studio partners in New York. And you can record there. You can record in Connecticut and all over the place, too. We even have remote services, too. So
really? Okay.
So if you are not around one of our studios or you want to record your podcast, you can, you can still participate in our membership program, and we'll still take care of the editing, the distribution, the coaching, and the membership coordinating and all of that stuff as well.
I think too, the remote option is great because I know a lot of businesses that have their own kind of green room or really like a marketing space anyway that they have just in case, and it's beautiful. So that's a great thing to know that you can do remote. Ours was, we have such a dark office that it looked like a cave one time. And I was like, we're never recording here at the office again. So I was like, we're going back to the studio. I like the studio. The experience is fun. It really kind of adds that extra flavor.
Oh yeah, you're in the studio. It's official.
It is official. It is official.
And you don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I want to talk about real quick, because I know we're gonna wrap up here shortly, but when it comes to when you were working or when you had your experiences with AMP, and we'll transition back to your personal story. When you were working on Nickelodeon, or it says you were produced and licensed original music for network and broadcast clients, including Fuel TV and Nickelodeon. Like, what kind of projects can you share? Okay.
Yeah, I can share that. So that it was a Nickelodeon magazine. Right. And you have a magazine too, right?
We do have a guide. Yeah, Palm Beach Guide.
Your Palm Beach Guide, right? And you have your Palm Beach.
And we have our Palm Beach Guide podcast.
Yeah, so it goes together. So the podcast tied in great with what you're doing.
It does.
No, it was Nickelodeon magazine, and so similar to my experience right now being on your show, right? I'm the producer, right? I'm usually off camera.
But we brought you in today.
You brought me right on in here, and here I am. So that was a similar experience. Right. I was engineering for their advertising team.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like this punk rock song, and they needed somebody to sing the lyrics. So, hey, who's, let's get that guy.
And he can sing.
I'm like, me? So I had to go into the booth and do I was recording the guitars and the drums and everything. I had to go in the booth and do like these punk rock lyrics for Nickelodeon magazine.
Oh my gosh.
So that was...
And it just happened.
There you go. Still happening. It's still happening.
Still happening. The moments that you're not really sure, you're like, I guess, take every moment that as it comes, right?
That's right.
That's the way to do it.
That's
so
right.
As we close up, tell us how people can get a hold of you. If you want to do any plugs for Podpopuli or podcast, or if you have a podcast. And then, so first, tell them how we can get a hold of you, plug about Podpopuli, and then plug about AMP and all three.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I'll start with Podpopuli. If you're interested in starting a podcast, don't wait. Go to our website, podpopuli.com, and just get in contact with one of our team members. We'll answer all your questions and help you get over that learning curve and take all the hard parts out. There's so many benefits to podcasting. So you can do that by just going to the Podpopuli website. If you're in Palm Beach County, right, and you're interested in learning music production or the recording arts, you can check out my private coaching website. That's ampmusiclab.com, ampmusiclab.com. Go ahead and check out what we do there, right? But we'll help you.
There's an extensive amount of information on his website too, of just personal stories and everything. So just take the time to take a look if you're interested in this stuff, because I wish we had more time to dive deep. But I'm honestly just perusing through. It's amazing what you've done with these kids. Not even kids, but just students of all ages who are interested in this kind of work. So
yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, I love it. And we're gonna see you at events. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Absolutely.
Good. Well,
I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Kiana.